Hey guys, welcome and welcome back to my channel. So yesterday I posted the pattern making for this particular dress. So if you've not seen it, I would advise you to go check it out up here or from the link in the description box. Now let's get into this particular sewing tutorial. So guys, continuing from where we stopped, we've cut our pattern out and the first thing we're going to do is sew our darts. Now you guys will remember that I actually drew those lines, so I'm going to just fold it right here and sew the darts. Now guys, this is what I have after sewing. I've also gone ahead to iron it so it looks flat. And now as you guys can see, I have cut out the 2 inches from this pattern. I'm just going to separate it so you guys can know that the space is actually there. So can you see the space right there? So that's the space in between the 2 back pieces. So once I put my modesty panel, it's just going to cover everything and you know my back won't show, and I can easily still hide the modesty panel if I want my back to show. Now the next thing we're going to do is sew all our waistlines. So the waistline for the skirt side at the back and the top part at the back, so every single, the 4 pieces, that's what you're going to do. So whatever seam allowance you've added from the onset, that's what you're going to use, and I'm going to show you guys the next step. Now guys, everything we're doing is on the wrong side. The right side has to be clean finishes, so you're sewing everything to the wrong side. I'm just telling you to fight. So guys, for the sleeves we're going to be using a fabric that is 37 inches by 17 inches. And they are going to cut 2 pieces of this because we need 2 sleeves, right? So then after that, you're going to fold it in a double fold. You're going to fold it at about 1/4 inch in first, then fold it over again using a 0.75 inch so that you can, hide the raw edges. So guys, just like I'm doing right here, you're going to fold it in a double fold and sew it down. I've put the elastic here so you guys can see it. Now if it was a 1 inch elastic, I'm going to make that space larger. So it's going to be larger than this one that I'm doing, but since I'm using a 1/2 inch elastic, I'm just going to do it this way. Now guys, here I have sewn the waistlines already, so I'm just going to arrange it the way it's going to be arranged on my fabric. Now if you have a fabric like mine, make sure you use your fabric chalk to mark the wrong side. So now that this is arranged, the next thing we're going to do is sew down the sides. So you're going to sew it down just like that on both sides, and then we're going to work on our center back. Now for the center back, we're going to be working on our loops now. So I got this by sewing a long fabric that was about 1 inch wide. Then I sewed it to, create this thin strap. You can also use bias tape for this, just like I did in the V Bottom Corset tutorial. But with this, you have to sew it, then use your turner or something very pointy to actually turn it inside out. And that's what I did for this particular dress. So what I'm basically going to do right now is measure what I have on this top and then divide it by probably the amount of loops that I want basically. So with this, I'm just going to make it 1.5 inches apart. So wherever I need to adjust or manipulate, I'm going to manipulate it so it fits, the amount of loops that I want to use. So I'm using 2 inches loops, so each of them is 2 inches. So that's what I'm using. And then I'm just going to pin it on the wrong side. So guys, we're working on the wrong side. And once you're done pinning, when you go to sew it, you're going to sew it straight down like that. So you're sewing all the loops down, and then to make us have clean finishes, we're going to now fold it to the right side. Now guys, don't worry, even if this is on the right side and it's the raw edges that are showing on the right side, don't worry, you'll see what I'm going to do after we sew it. So you're basically just going to sew it down again on the right side. So remember, we're sewing on the wrong side first. Then we're going to fold it in with about 1/4 inch, that's 0.25 inch, and then sew it down on the right side so we don't have any problems when we're finally closing everything. And then we're going to move on to our sleeve. So guys, can you see the sleeve? I have sewn it down. Now to measure my elastic, I'm not going to measure my wrist. I'm going to measure in between my elbow and my wrist. So whatever I get, I'm going to add 1.5 inch to it. So I'm going to add that 1.5 inches because when I used the exact measurement, it was so tight and I could not like manipulate it at all. So if you use more than that measurement, you'll be able to move it up and down to your elbow. So when I did it this way, it was better. When you're putting it in, also be careful so that you won't let the other end of the elastic go in with it, because it's going to be like double work. So once you're done, tie it in a double knot or in a triple knot, puff it out like this, and this is what you're going to have. Now look at it already on my hand. I've not even finished it and it's already looking really nice. So I'm going to do that for the other side as well, and then put it right sides facing each other and finishing it. So that's all you need to do for the sleeves. Fold it right sides facing each other once you've done the other side and sew it down. Now guys, can you see what it looks like? These are the two sleeves. They're so beautiful and so puffy. So guys, remember that we turned the loops to the right side. So now we have the raw edges on the right side. Now we're going to take our bias tape and just place it on it, making sure it covers the raw edges. So the raw edges of the loops, you're going to make sure this bias tape actually covers it. So cover it and pin it down. So when you pin it down, you're going to be sewing on both sides. Now the two edges of the bias tape, that's where you're going to be sewing so that you can put your boning through it. Do you guys get what I mean? You're going to sew the two edges of the bias tape so that you can use it for your boning, just like we're going to do for the front as well. And then we're going to put this bias tape on the front. So we're doing it from the neckline down to where the V is. The entire center, you're going from the top to the bottom. Then we're now going to do another one on both sides as a V shape. So do you guys get? I'm going to put a close-up video so you guys can see it. So that's what you guys are going to do basically. I'm going to use this time to add my zipper at the back, and I'll show you the next stage. So guys, here I am done sewing the bias tape. Can you guys see it? It's so nice. Now guys, for the boning channel for the front, I'm going to be using half length. So from my neckline to my waist, basically that's what I'm going to be using, and I'm going to just measure what I have there to use it to cut it. Now you're going to measure from the waistline to the neckline so that you can know how much of that boning you need. So once you get it, minus about 1/2 inch to 0.75 inch from it, so that when you're finishing your neckline, you don't have to, you know, start bringing it out to cut it and all those things. Just cut it 1/2 inch or 0.75 inch minus whatever you get from your waist to the neckline. So I'm just going to fix it in and then, you know, cut it if there's any excess I need to cut, and that's what it's going to look like right here. So this is what it's going to look like in the end. And then I'm going to go to the back, fixing my boning. And then for the end of the boning, I'm now going to fold it in at the back so that it hides that raw edge basically. So I'm just going to sew it down. Now this boning is actually a Ridgeline boning that you can sew on. So once I'm sewing on it, it's not going to affect it at all. So that's what I'm going to just do here. And after doing that, this is what the back boning channels would look like. Then, just like we've been doing in other videos, finishing our necklines and our armholes with bias tape, that's what we're going to do right here. We're going to just put the bias tape all around, from the back, from the center back to the armhole, then to the neckline, then to the second armhole, then to the other center back. So if you guys get what I mean, you're going to use a bias tape to finish all your edges at the neck side. So at the top side, that's what you're going to do. That's what I did right here. So I'm just going to pin it and finish it just like that with the bias tape. It's always easier to finish your necklines and your armholes with bias tape. I explained it in the V Bottom Corset sewing tutorial. So once you guys are watching that one, you guys will learn as well this particular way of finishing your edges basically. Now next up, this is the modesty panel. So I've just cut out about 14-inch fabric by 7 inches, so it has to be a square, and I sewed it right sides facing each other, turned it inside out, and then I sewed it to the back. So can you guys see it right here? This is what it looks like from the front, and this is what it looks like from the back, and that's what your modesty panel would look like. And then this dress has these amazing straps. So for the straps, how I did it was I measured the fabric that was 4 inches by about 15 inches. So I cut out 4 pieces, and then I folded it right sides facing each other and sewed it down on 2 of the edges, so the smaller edge and the longer one basically. So you're going to sew it down, then flip it to the other side, iron it, and sew it to your dress. So that's all about the sleeves. It wasn't really difficult. I forgot to film it, so that's what you're going to do. Sew it, turn it inside out, and then sew it to your dress. When everybody wants to begin. Finally, we're going to work on the V bottom part, so the drama of the day. So I'm going to just measure what I have on that V, all around the V, the 2 sides, so the front and the back, and I got about 40 inches. So what I did was I multiplied that by 2. Now you can use how much fabric you need. I even used 90 inches because I had 19 inches fabric. So instead of the 80 inches, 40 times 2, I added 10 inches to it, and I used 90 inches. Then what I did was create, gather stitches using my needle and thread. I always like using needle and thread to do my gathers, and just making those gathers like that. Now guys, a quick one. If you don't have a full length of fabric, you can break your fabrics into 2. So like what I did here, I had 45 inches and 45 inches on both sides. So what I did was I made sure those side seams, those seams that are going to be there, were on the side. So I mistakenly did it on the front and the back before, but I now figured that, oh, I just made a mistake, so I had to loosen everything. So don't be like me, so it's on the sides. So make sure your seams are on the sides so that it would fit, basically, like it won't be awkward looking. I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come eat. This is what the gathered side looks like. It's so amazing. So now you guys can see that it's a clean finish inside. That's because I did a French seam. I don't have a serger, so all my seams are actually French seams. So I first sewed it to the front, and then I sewed it to the back. So if you've been following my previous videos, you would know that I love using French seam because I don't have a serger right now. It's quite expensive, guys. It's quite expensive. So I'm just going to be using my French seam and enduring sewing twice. I'm not mad at it. It looks really good. So that's what I'm going to continue doing for now. And yes, this is what the dress finally looks like. This dress is amazing. You can wear it with your sleeves and look fabulous. Like with the sleeves, you can wear it on the shoulder, off the shoulder, without the sleeves. You can even wear it as a skirt, guys. Just make sure you fold it, the right way, so it doesn't have any bumps or anything. So once you do that, guys, you're good to go. So guys, this is the final outlook of the dress, and I am so glad I have finally put this video out there for you guys to see. I'm going to be posting amazing sewing tutorials, beginner friendly sewing tutorials. I'm going to be doing like mini projects. So this year I'm going to be doing mini projects that for like fabric purses, fabric, mini things. And then I'm going to also have a minimalist closet, so you guys should watch out for that. I'm going to sew a minimalist closet, probably like 10 pieces, like a capsule wardrobe basically. You guys should just subscribe so you guys can know when I'm going to start that particular project. It's going to be amazing, guys. So 10 pieces, and I've made one already. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is. I've made one already and it's on the channel. So yes, until my next video, please don't forget to subscribe, guys. Comment also so that YouTube will know that you're learning something from my channel. It's amazing finally dropping this sewing tutorial in this 2023. Until my next video, do have yourself a wonderful morning, noon or night wherever you are. It's still your favorite content creator and fashion entrepreneur, Lara Savage, signing out.